Hi, I'm Oli Barrett, and I'm joined today by Brendan Mooney, the Chief Executive of Kainos. Brendan, hello.
Hello there, Oli.
Well, Brendan, we meet again because Kainos has had another extraordinary year. Last year, you were also one of the winners in the Ambition Nation listed 50. You were the top performing company overall. And of course, this year, you have smashed it once again. You are the best performing technology company in the listed 50. So first of all, congratulations after, let's face it, what's been quite a year.
Yeah, Oli, thank you very much. It's been a really busy year for lots of companies, and we're very pleased to have finished the year in such a positive stance.
Can I just ask you, underneath that great success, what has really driven that this year?
Well, I think nothing changes in the pandemic for us as a business, Oli. There are three things that drive our success. I think number one is our customers, and 9% of our business comes from existing clients. So having those strong, long-standing customer relationships really does help. I think we clearly are helped by the fact that we're in a digital marketplace. So the ERP trend towards digitization, that kind of broader societal move towards digitization has really helped as well. Indeed, arguably COVID-19 has accelerated that. And then the third thing, the most important thing in my mind, is just our people. We are a people-intensive business, and my colleagues have been absolutely fabulous over the last 9 months and how they've responded personally and professionally to the challenges COVID-19 have brought.
I want to ask you a bit more about those challenges as we go along. Let's just remind our viewer, Kainos, a software company. Strikes me you're in the business really of digital transformation. Just help us bring that to life very briefly.
Yeah, Oli, we are 1,700 people across the world. We focus in two areas. One is about helping clients who have purchased Workday, so a kind of global ERP system, to put that live inside their organizations and get real benefit from having a single application there. And then we help governments and commercial organizations build large digital services. So if you've applied for the renewal of your UK passport, if you've checked out your driving license online, if you're taking your car for an MOT, then we've built all those services in conjunction with government to allow people to work more effectively.
Yeah, it strikes me that you're trusted by the organizations who in turn are trusted by millions. And one example of that is over the last year, you were trusted by the Welsh government to deliver their £500 million economic resilience fund. Just tell us a bit about how that was as a challenge and what you took from it.
So, Oli, you go back to kind of March, and I know that we're still living with COVID, but March was a very different time than perhaps the pressures we feel today. But it was kind of a little bit crazy. 30th of March, the Welsh government announced a broad economic support package. We were asked to build the first part of that software platform on the 3rd of April. The 16th of April, it goes live to allow micro and SME business to apply for grants. And then by the 22nd of April, we're able to process those grants from the back office. And again, to give a sense of scale, there's something like 6,500 companies applied for loans in that first 3 days of operation. About 150 million of grants were requests as part of that. So, in line with lots of things we did for the NHS and for government at that point in time, this was all compressed into really days to get major government services live to help respond economically as well from a healthcare perspective as well.
And what would you say, Brendan, having to move at that speed on such an important national project, one lesson you took from that as a leader?
Gosh, I think that there was very little thinking time. We talked about the Welsh government, but some of the work we did for the NHS, you were given 90 minutes to get a team together to start building software to support isolation notes or home testing and all the rest. So to me, it just reinforces the quality of people that we have, that the leadership comes from them on these important programs rather than coming from centrally or from me. So that kind of have a really empowered, engaged workforce is a key success factor for responding to those things so quickly.
It just strikes me listening to you today, Brendan, that there are so many challenges thrown at companies during a pandemic, and yet you have been firing on all cylinders. Your share price is delivering fantastically. There must have been some major challenges. Let's start to really see if I can get under the bonnet here. Let's have a couple of your reflections.
Yeah, I mean, if you assume it's all been kind of sweetness and light and calmness inside Kainos, then that would be an incorrect impression I've created. I mean, obviously, again, you go back to March. Our first priority was our people. How do we get them safe? So working from home was the obvious place to do it. And we moved 1,700 people to work from home in less than a week. So a huge kind of logistical challenge. I mean, we had 200 people who were traveling kind of during those first phases of lockdown, most in Europe, but some further afield. So getting them home was a real challenge as well. So number one was about getting our people safe. Number two was about supporting our customers as they can move their business to not be based in offices as well. And that was, again, quite busy during the middle months of March. And then thinking about our business and how do we protect that business as well, because in March and certainly in April, we were unsure as to how the world might react to COVID-19 and how we should respond to that as a business. So we put in a number of cost reduction measures at that point in time. And then as the months kind of moved forward, the time June had come around, it was obvious that digital programs were becoming much more important to our customers, and they were keen to accelerate those as well. So we're back into almost normal running by July, and then we made some announcements about our trading in July and things like paying back our furlough money as well.
Back on a business note, I noticed that earlier this year you made an acquisition. You acquired Intuitive Tech, and I just wonder what that represents, the opportunity that it now opens up for you. You might want to remind us about the match as well.
So we made 3 acquisitions in the past 12 months, Ollie, our first 3 ever. They're small but important acquisitions. So in 2018, Workday purchased a financial planning company called Adaptive Insights. We tried to build those skills organically ourselves, but realized that actually the best way to do that was actually to acquire 3 companies: Intuitive Tech in the US, Formulate in the UK, and then Plexa in Germany. We put together, to be a bunch of really talented people. We were delighted to be able to convince those 3 organizations to join Kainos and establish a leading adaptive planning consultancy across the world. So for us, Workday is a 14-module system, and the opportunity for us is about helping Workday's customers across the globe, our own customers as well, to use that planning software more effectively. And again, COVID-19 has really highlighted the need for organizations to have a really robust planning system to model lots of different scenarios. So we've seen demand for that part of our business strong over the past 7-8 months, and we expect to see that continuing going forward as well.
And just on a practical note, Brendan, that final acquisition, what sort of month did that take place in? Were we under lockdown? Because if we were, how do you go about evaluating such an important opportunity when you're at a distance?
Well, we had the good fortune of having started that process before lockdown. So we started our COVID response on the 5th of March, and we completed the deal on the 7th of March. So it was a relatively short gap between that. But yes, it was difficult, I guess, post-acquisition that I was due to be in the States with the team on the 17th of March, which obviously I couldn't do because of travel restrictions. And we've been relying on technology to chat to and engage with people. But obviously delighted with all 3 acquisitions. Intuitive Tech, obviously the biggest of the 3, based in the US, it's gone really well, and they've kind of really been an asset to us over the past 9 months.
How would you say that your growth plans have changed, evolved over 2020? And I'm also interested, of course, in understanding the lessons that you've learned along the way, but particularly on growth plans. What would you say?
Well, if we were having this conversation back in March, I'd be full of nervousness and anxiety, Ollie, but we're having this conversation obviously in October. I think that, if anything, the COVID-19 has accelerated our growth as a business. I think that kind of that push towards digitalization has increased the demand for our services. So if you look at the consensus forecasts for our business that were published in the last week or so, this year we're expected to hit revenue levels that are probably 2.5 years away. So that has kind of brought that forward. So it has been an acceleration around that. But we have, again, that good benefit of being in high growth markets before COVID-19. And COVID-19 has just accelerated that further. I think in terms of lessons learned, it's probably just kind of more lessons reinforced. This is about our customers and our people and doing great work for our customers. So that has been an important part of our growth story before COVID-19. I think that over the past months, it's just really been reinforced for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And just out of interest, you've been at the helm of a listed company during a global pandemic. I just wonder if there are any aspects of being a listed firm that come to your advantage. Perhaps you felt even more accountable on the line. I just wonder, just more on a personal note, Brendan, how that feels to be in the driving seat through such an extraordinary chapter, really.
As a public company, at the start, I think it probably encouraged us to be crisp about our decision making. So back in March, nobody knew what the world would be like in 5 months' time or 6 months' time. So for us, it was about being clear about what we were going to do and communicating that internally, but then also externally as well. And I think that more laterally, we are building the team further. So as we sit today, we've got 190 vacancies across the business, so we've got a strong recruitment drive underway as well. I think it does help in the marketplace when talented people are looking at their next career step. That we're financially robust, we're growing, and we're growing in reasonably big scale is an important aspect for them. To choose us over other organizations.
Brendan, I just wonder if I took you back to March this year, you're already performing well in your share price as a company. Would you have any advice to Brendan Mooney, early 2020?
Oh, I would probably have told myself not to worry so much, because I think that again, if you go through the kind of phases we went through in our response, getting our people safe, that was quite a lot of work. Being able to support our customers as they then kind of switched their business model was pretty challenging as part of that. So I think that was March was a really intense period for us. April as well. But I'm a cautious person. We have a kind of a conservative view as a company. Therefore, quick action was, I think, required. But there were certainly some sleepless nights as part of what we did back in March and April.
Brendan, you've been recognized as the best performing technology company in this year's Ambition Nation Listed 50. What does that recognition mean to you as a company and individually?
Well, I draw on the company aspect of this, Oli. I think that I seem to have a full-time job these days to accept plaudits and awards for the performance of 1,700 very talented colleagues as well. But I do think these awards, this recognition is important, that as a company we can see that we are making progress, that we are continuing to perform strongly. This will be our 11th year of growth as a business. I'm very proud of that consistent track record. And awards like this just kind of re-cement that in the external view as well as the internal view of Kainos.
Yeah, well, huge congratulations on that recognition, and also for the work you've done supporting those on the front line in 2020. Brendan Mooney, Chief Executive of Kainos, great to see you again, and congratulations.
Oli, thank you very much.